Good morning, students. Now, in today's class, we will going to continue with the chapter which we had started in the previous class, that is heat. And today we will going to continue with the topic change of state of matter. So, what is change of state of matter? So, whenever the heat is provided to an object, okay, whether the object is in solid state, liquid state, or in gaseous state. So, on absorbing the heat energy, slowly and slowly its state of matter changes. So, the solid may get converted into liquid state, liquid can get converted into gaseous state, and on cooling, the reverse process will take place. So, let us talk about the change of state of matter. And first kind of state of matter, the change will be fusion or melting. Suppose a solid is there, when it is heated and it will get converted into liquid state, that will be known as fusion or melting. So what is the definition? The process of conversion of solid into liquid state. The process of conversion of solid into liquid state on heating at a specific temperature, means at a particular temperature you have to heat. And while reaching that temperature, it will slowly and slowly get converted into liquid state, and that will be known as fusion or melting. And the temperature at which the solid gets converted into liquid state is known as melting point. So the melting point of a particular object will going to be fixed. Like suppose if I take example of ice which is made up of water. So ice is in solid state, and when you start heating that ice at the temperature of 0 degree, it will start getting converted into liquid state, that is into water. Okay. So this process, when it was in the solid state and after heating it, it gets converted into liquid state at a particular temperature is known as fusion, and the temperature at which this whole phenomena will take place will be known as melting point. So okay, now before a solid changes into liquid state, so when you are converting a solid to liquid state, it must be given with some amount of heat energy. So will the same thing can occur without providing the heat energy? No, it is not possible, because the ice will or any of the solid will going to absorb the heat energy, and on absorbing the heat energy only it can get converted from solid state to liquid state. For example, to melt 1 kg of ice, suppose you are having 1 kg of ice, that is 1000 gram of ice, which is at 0 degrees Celsius, into 1 kg of water. That means when you melt it and the water completely you melted, and you want 1 kg of water at same temperature at 0 degrees Celsius, we must give it 340,000 joules of energy. Okay, such a 340,000, you can say 340,000 joules of energy has to be given. Such a huge amount of energy is to be given to 1 kg of ice in order to convert it into water. So let us talk about this type of energy. The energy which is being absorbed by the object by converting it from one state to another state at the same temperature. Let us talk about that energy. So as I told you, if you want to convert 1 kg of ice at 0 degrees Celsius into 1 kg of water at 0 degrees Celsius, you will require some amount of heat energy, and that heat energy was 340,000 joules for every kg. That heat energy is known as specific latent heat. Means the amount of heat energy required, the definition is it is the amount of heat energy required to convert unit mass. Unit mass means it can be 1 kg or 1 gram, whichever you want to prefer. 1 kg or 1 gram mass of a substance from solid state to liquid state. So it is specific latent heat of fusion. Fusion means when it is converting from solid state into liquid state without changing the temperature. So you can check that temperature is not changing. At that period of time, how much amount of energy has been absorbed to convert from solid state into liquid state without any change in temperature. That energy is known as specific latent heat of fusion. Why fusion? Because it is converting from solid into liquid state. And the unit for specific latent heat is joules per kg. Means for every kg, how much amount of joule. The smaller unit, it is joule per gram. So if you take 1 gram of water and ice, and then you want to convert it into water, in that situation you will require less amount of energy, and that will become joule per gram. So this is the unit and this is the specific latent heat, which kind of energy which is required. So you have to learn this thing, that is specific latent heat of fusion. Now another change of state of matter is vaporization or boiling. So the process of conversion of liquid into gaseous state at a fixed temperature or heating is known as boiling. So suppose any liquid is there and when you heat that liquid, so after heating it will going to raise or move to a particular temperature, and after reaching to that particular temperature it will start get converted into its vapor state. And this conversion of liquid into vapor state or gaseous state is known as vaporization or boiling. So the temperature at which the liquid gets converted into gaseous state or vapor state is known as its boiling point. So this boiling point of a particular liquid is always fixed. Like suppose if I take example of water, water gets started boiling at 100 degrees Celsius and they start getting converted into steam. Over here also heat energy is required because the chapter is about heat energy, so we should know where the heat energy is required. So over here also heat energy is required to change the state from liquid into vapor. 1 kg of water, suppose if you take 1 kg of water and let it boil at 100 degrees Celsius, on boiling at 100 degrees Celsius it will convert into steam, and which will require 23 lakh joules of energy. Such a huge amount of heat energy will be required to convert 1 kg of water into steam, and this amount of energy will be termed as specific latent heat of vaporization. Specific latent heat of vaporization, that means the temperature, the heat energy which is required to change a unit mass of liquid into vapor state or gaseous state. So for water, this is the amount of energy. For every kind of liquid, different amount of energy is required. Okay, so this is about vaporization or boiling. Now there are some effects that you can feel in day-to-day life. Some applications are there about vaporization, so let us talk about them. Some applications are there because of vaporization. You will going to feel such kind of things in day-to-day life. Like suppose if a person feels colder after getting out of the swimming pool. Suppose you are taking a swimming and after completing your swimming, when you come out from the swimming pool, your body feels a little bit colder. Or we feel cold when we wear wet clothes. So suppose you are wearing a wet cloth and then you are sitting under the fan, okay, or you are walking from one place to another place. At that time your body feels a little bit cold. Or sometimes when a person is having very high temperature, he is suffering from fever or she is suffering from fever and having a high temperature. So a wet cloth is basically doctors ask parents to put the wet cloths over the forehead. Why we place that thing? So what happens during that time? When the water is in contact with the body, so water will try to absorb the heat energy from the body. Why? Because it wants to get converted into vapor form. So while getting converted into vapor form, it will absorb the heat energy from your body. And so when it is absorbing the heat energy from that particular place, the temperature over there decreases because of high specific latent heat of vaporization. So very huge amount of energy is required by the water to get converted into vapor state. So at that time your body feels colder at that place. Like suppose you take some spirit or Dettol and place it over your palm, okay, over your hand over here, and when you place it you will feel some cold sensation will take place. Why this cold sensation occurs? Because spirit will going to get vaporized very soon, and as it is vaporizing, it is absorbing the heat energy from your skin. So when it is absorbing the heat energy from your skin, the temperature of your skin decreases suddenly over there, and because of that case you feel cold over there. Similarly, when we feel cold when we wear wet clothes. Why? Because when you are wearing wet clothes, your body is covered with water, because the clothes are having water. Now this water is getting evaporated. So while it is getting evaporated, it is actually absorbing the heat energy from your body, because your body temperature is high. So it is absorbing the heat energy from your body and then it gets evaporated. So while it is evaporating, it is taking away the heat energy from your body, and because of that, temperature of your skin decreases and you feel cold. So these are few logics of which few reasons which you should know what happens when your body is getting sweating. So during summer also, when your face is sweat or your body is full of sweat, in that condition you sit under the fan and you feel a little bit cold. Why? Because the sweat is actually evaporating, and while it is evaporating, it is taking away the heat energy from your body. So these are the reasons, applications which you have to learn. Okay, now we will going to talk about thermal expansion. So what is thermal expansion? Thermal means heat, expansion means increase in size. Okay, so thermal expansion. So the expansion produced in matter. Okay, the change of shape or size that can be seen in matter. So the expansion produced in matter due to the absorption of heat energy. So when heat energy is absorbed by the material, and because of that some expansion can be seen, and this expansion which is present because of the heat energy is known as thermal expansion. Now the thermal expansion result in an increase in length, breadth and thickness. Means length of the object can also increase, the breadth of the object can also increase, and the thickness means you can say overall volume of the object can also going to increase. In case of liquid and gases, expansion in volume takes place. Generally what happens, liquid and gases, they do not have a specific shape. Okay, the shape is not fixed. Since the shape is not fixed, so in that condition the expansion in volume takes place because there is no particular length, no particular breadth is there. So overall expansion in volume takes place. But as we all know that solid have definite shape, okay, definite size, everything is there. So in that case, the expansion, that is increase in length, breadth and volume, everything can be seen. So the length, if it is in the form of a wire, you can see that the length of the wire can expand, that means the solid can change its length also on heating. Similarly, if it is in the form of a sheet, the length and breadth both can increase, that is you can say that overall area can increase. Similarly, when we talk about the volume, the length, breadth and height, everything can also increase in the case of solid, so the change in volume is also possible. So in case of solid, length can also change, breadth, that is area can also change, and volume can also change. But in case of liquid and gases, only which kind of expansion is possible? Expansion of volume. So let us talk about what is this expansion of length, breadth and volume. Now, thermal expansion is basically of three types. So let us talk about them. What are these three types of thermal expansion? First is known as linear expansion. What? First type of expansion is known as linear expansion. The increase in length of a solid. So when, as I take example of a wire, okay, and in case of wire which is solid, if the length of the wire increases, so the increase in length of the solid, so any solid whose length actually changes or increases when heated is called linear expansion. So this is about change in length. So when the length of the solid increases, then it is known as linear expansion. Second one is known as superficial expansion. The increase in area of a solid. So like suppose if the solid is in the shape of a sheet. So on heating, if the length and breadth both increases due to heating, so you can say that overall the area of the sheet has increased. So the increase in area of a solid when heated is called superficial expansion. So this is about superficial expansion, that is increase in area. Third one is known as cubical expansion, that is expansion in volume. The increase in volume of a substance, that means solid also, liquid also, gas, all can have expansion in their volume. So when heated, they all increases with their volume, and when the volume changes, then you say it is a cubical expansion. So linear expansion, increase in length, superficial expansion, increase in area. Cubical expansion means increase in length, breadth and height, that means overall volume. So this kind of expansion, that is cubical expansion, is possible in all the three states of matter, but linear and superficial expansion is possible only in solid. So these are the types of thermal expansion which you have to remember. In the next class, we will going to start about applications which are related to thermal expansion. So till then, you have to study each and everything, try to understand the concept so that you can learn the applications and understand them very easily. Okay, thank you.